like there's a lot of parts that are kind of like touristy and trails for walking. You know, there's a lot of like not really developed parts, but parts where it's kind of more people go on.
And you went into those parts, I'm guessing?
Yeah, it's been a while. They had like like old cabins and shit that were built a long time ago. In some parts, there's kind of like just touristy attraction. They have the whole Jersey Devil thing up there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
I don't know. It's cool. It's a cool little myth.
I don't know. I mean, marshes, I could see something weird going on because they're not very accessible.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they're a pretty famous forest just because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, gotta go back there sometime. My
Yeah,
girlfriend.
sounds like a good place.
What'd you say?
Sounds like a pretty good place. Camp.
Yeah, my girlfriend and I want to go up to this road that's like 3 hours away, but it's supposed to be haunted. It's called
Well,
Clinton Road up in North Jersey. It's literally supposed to be like ghost trucks that run you off the road and like all
oh
this
god.
weird, crazy shit going on.
Yeah, I'm sure you probably never heard of Buffalo Ridge.
I don't know. I feel like that's such like which one?
Basically, it's a suburb of Cincinnati. It's this like 2 mile road that people pass away on it pretty frequently because of giant hills and people go hill hopping. And then there's an abandoned sanitarium that was back there. It was like a sanitarium, then a school, then a sanitarium again, and then there's a crematory that's like pretty big. That's abandoned. There's houses on like the main road that literally just like you see foundation and the houses are gone, and there's weird parks and a weird lake, and then you go down these trails and there's businesses that like don't. So basically, we went down there and we used to drive through. Sometimes the radio will stop, and sometimes it'll just change and play different channels and shit. And like you're supposed to at one point you stop the car, turn the lights on, and then turn it off and leave the lights running, and then you put powder on the back of your trunk, and then you'll have handprints on it.
Oh, I think I've heard about that before.
It's like a pretty well-known thing, and there's a place called Midgetville, where basically there's a bunch of like they're not really supposed to be dwarfs, but something similar to dwarfs that literally have a town because it's one of the biggest national parks. So it's like I don't know what acreage is towards miles, but it's like 4 miles of woods on both sides of it. So there's like a midget village in the woods, and at one point, I went there, and me and my buddy who's from Kentucky, never been there before. We go and park during like daylight, at like 6 o'clock during the summer. We start looking around. We see like these houses, and they're messing around where there was houses, and this is like foundation and like a couple of furniture items, and basically where the house is literally just like gone, and you can just like see into the basement and shit, and just like look around. Then you walk like a mile and a half up the street and a mile down. There's like a bunch of just weird parks and like abandoned factories and buildings, and it's all like surrounded and engulfed by wood. And then there's this trail that there's a giant gate, like metal, gate. So during the day, I guess there's like golf carts or something you can get through, or it's like a bike trail too. So we just climb over it and walk probably a mile and a half down into the woods, and we just find this random building that has a like a 15-foot high fence, 20-foot high fence going all the way down. Had like a probably, I don't know, like half a street
Damn.
worth of just a yard, and it was all fenced in, and it had the barbed wire going inward. And it was just so weird. And then there was this big windowless, like brick factory-looking building that just like dipped out into the darkness, like towards the trail.
That's creepy. So,
And,
did you go in?
Yeah.
Nah, because it had the barbed wire going inward.
True.
So if you get in there, you're not gonna get out.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any tin snips or anything. But he's like, "Hey, let's go in there." I'm like, "That sounds like fucking the worst idea I've ever heard." And it was a weird thing because you could tell that we were being watched that whole time as we were walking through the woods. And at a certain point, we literally are down there, like snooping around for probably 20 minutes, and we start walking back, and something's throwing rocks at us from the woods. You know,
What the
at that
fuck?
point, we were there like 6 out there, but it was probably 10:30, 11 when we finally got down to that spot. So it was like 11 or so, and we're walking back, and something's in the woods, literally throwing rocks and throwing shit at us.
That's so creepy.
And yeah, I don't know if I remember. I feel like I remember seeing yellow eyes somewhere, but I'm not going to say that is 100% something I saw. So it was pretty sketch. Like somebody was seriously throwing rocks at us.
That's freaky as hell.
And you look at like shit, throwing rocks is something that things usually do. That aren't people. And then we finally walk and get back to his car, and I think we smoke, and then get all that shit out of the car, and then we turn the car on, and we had the car on or whatever that whole time. We're about to pull out, and a sheriff pulls right behind us. Because we were parked in a spot, not a parking spot. It's basically just like a little patch of grass off of the road. And then he comes up to us, asks us a bunch of questions. And the dude whose car was in, he had people in his car a couple days earlier. So there's a lighter in a plastic bag on the passenger side, right underneath my feet, and then something else that he said he saw. So he's like, "Hey, what's on your feet?" and all this shit, and I'm like, I'm already sketched out because there was shit throwing. There was a weird ass thing in the middle of the woods. Then something's throwing rocks at us, and then we have to walk to the car in the dark all the way there. And it's 11:30 by the time we get there. Then the cop literally pulls us over, right when we're about to leave. And then ask what that plastic bag next to my feet is. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not trying to get a fucking misdemeanor, for sitting here. Trying to hit you with a paraphernalia charge, searching your shit. And I'm almost certain he had more than just that on him. So it would not have been a good thing. But he let us off with a warning, and it was still one of the weirder experiences I had down there. It was like a perfect storm.
That's pretty weird.
Yeah.
And I've probably driven down it maybe 12 times. There's been times where I'm literally just bored as hell and hanging out with someone, and especially if it's when we were in high school, when we were really bored, we would drive down Buffalo Ridge and see what happens. And sometimes the radio will seriously skip and stop, and your lights will flicker, and shit like that, and you'll kind of just feel your car and just kind of jerk a little bit. It's some freaky shit. But I would go down there pretty frequently. There's a bunch of spots like that down here, though. Pretty gnarly, you know.
Yeah. I would never do that stuff, honestly.
Well, going to that road is kind of doing that stuff, you know.
Yeah. That's fair.
I mean, I agree with you because, you know, the only things that you can find out are bad things by doing shit like that. But, you know.
Yeah.
The curious mind is a curse, you know.
Yeah.
It's something that you can't either have a curious mind or you don't. And I definitely have a curious mind. And
yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah. I pretty much entirely can't help myself.
Yeah, no, I would probably do it more, but I've seen enough like scary movies to know that the people who die are the people who go into the places they shouldn't.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to end up like that.
I mean, you know, like, fucking crackheads. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The city and the country are really the same thing. It's just like different types of scaff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Did you think did any of those thoughts come back to you? Talking about this?
Honestly, no. It's so bad that I can't remember anything.
Well, E, do you got any stories that, you know, you haven't really talked about much that, you know, you could share with us?
Well, I do have that, the dude who chased me for like 2 blocks. That story. Yeah, you know, yeah, I'll tell that story. It's not a long story, but I was walking home from my friend's house who lives like, I don't know, like up the block and around the corner and down the street pretty much. So he's not like far or anything. So, and it was really dark and late out. But I was like, he's not far, so it's like whatever. So I was just walking home, and this guy is I had headphones in, and this guy is like across the street from me, like walking on the sidewalk the opposite direction that I was walking in, and like he looks at me and he says something, and I didn't hear him, so I take my headphones out, and he's just like, "What the fuck are you looking at?" And I was just like, "Okay," and he said it again, and I started walking a little faster. I'm like, this guy's kind of fucking weird. And then he sprints across the street and just chases me home pretty much. I'm not sure how long he chased me because I wasn't really looking back. I looked back like once. He was still chasing me. That was like right when he started chasing me. And I got home and I looked out the window and shit, and he was like nowhere to be found. So I assume he stopped. So yeah, I don't know what he like would have done or what, but it's pretty fucking scary.
That is, I got some crazy people stories that I just thought of. I got 2 from that basically just come from my train rides. So they literally happened like one happened like the night I was going home, and then another one happened like the morning right after. So first I was on getting on SEPTA, which takes me from like 30th Street down to where Paco is. And there was this guy, I had headphones in and I was looking at my phone, and this guy comes up to me and he's like looking at me. He doesn't say anything, and he keeps like looking at me, and he does like a I don't even know what he does with his hands, but he was looking at me and like doing these things with his hands, almost like a picture. And he did that for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, I don't know what you want. And he kept trying to talk, but he obviously couldn't. He probably only had like 2 teeth. You know, he was obviously a mess. But after like 10 minutes, he walks away, tries to bother someone else, and then comes back to me. And eventually I figure out that he wants me to take a picture of him for some reason. So we take a selfie together. and then he leaves me alone. But it was like the weirdest thing ever, and I was super sketched out.
That's so
You still have
weird.
that picture?
I deleted that picture. It was
You
too
should
weird
not
for
have
me.
deleted that picture.
I would delete it too.
I kept it for a little because I didn't want him to like. I didn't want it to be cursed or anything like that. You know, I didn't want any bad luck. But then eventually I was like, all right, whatever. But then literally like the next day when I was getting off the train into Philly, this guy comes up to me and he's like, hey, can I ask you a question? And I'm like, sure, because I'm thinking maybe he'll ask for directions or something. And the question he asked me was, do you think it's bad that I kind of miss being in jail? And I swear to God, I thought he was like about to stab me so he could go back. But
What the fuck?
he was literally like, he just got out, he said, and he was asking me like if it was weird that he missed all the like the routine and the scheduling and everything. And then he started showing me his tattoos as I was trying to leave. Like he showed me all the tattoos he got from prison, and it was really weird. And
That's so weird.
I meet the weirdest people on the train. It's
There's definitely some really weird people on trains, like for sure.
I don't know what it is, but I just seem to attract crazy people.
Do you have any other crazy people that you run into?
I don't know. Nothing out of the like normal homeless beggar, you know. There's always this one lady I see on the train. I assume it's a lady, it's hard to tell, who is the skinniest person ever. Their legs are like bone. Like it's literally they have no fat at all. Like it's almost they're like a tiny little skeleton. And it's like they never really ask for anything. They kind of just go through the train cars every day. It's always so weird.
Yeah, you live in a pretty quiet area as far as people and people doing shit. Then, right?
I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of close to like where Drexel is at least. If you go up to like 40th Street, then it gets pretty bad. So we're like right on the edge. Like I always get notifications that like some robbery happened like right at the edge of Drexel's campus or someone's getting like raped or whatever. There's always some crazy shit going on. I'm just not around.
Well, that Drexel's on the edge of Philadelphia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Towards the west.
I think I don't really know. Like I just know.
What about where you're staying at now? That you're not in school. Pretty quiet. None much that happens there.
Yeah, that's yep.
You don't have any stories from growing up there?
I don't know.
That's weird, man. 'Cause I had stuff happen to me pretty much on like a weekly basis. Ridiculous shit.
I mean, I never really did anything. I just kind of stayed in and like made beats the whole time, you know. I didn't really do much.
Yeah, I do have one other story. I don't know if you would call this like a crazy person story per se, but there was this creepy girl who was sitting out on my steps, like right in front of my front door for at like it had to have been like 12 or 1 in the morning. It was so weird. It was so creepy. And she literally looked like one of those stereotypical Japanese horror movies, how they just have like the hair over their eyes and they just kind of sit in corners and be creepy. Like that's what this shit was like. And she sat on my steps for what felt like hours. Like I don't know how long it was, but like I'm pretty sure I was talking to Chris like as this was happening. I'm pretty sure.
I was on the phone with you as it happened.
Yeah, it was really creepy. Like, and she like couldn't sit still. Like she was like fidgeting around. It was just so fucking weird. Like she was like a I don't know, like she was having withdrawals or something. I don't know.
Did you
It
say
was
that
so
her eyes were black?
I mean, I couldn't really see her eyes, but they probably, if I said that, they probably looked that way since it was so dark out there. She had, I think she had, like, glitter or some shit on her, which was pretty weird. I don't know what that was about. Like, she had, some tattoos. Like, she was just fucking creepy. Like, and also it was like, I don't remember. Do you remember if it was like cold outside or anything, Chris, at that time?
I think it was about fall.
That's what I was thinking. And she had like, she didn't have a coat on or anything like that, so that was also a little bit weird. So yeah, and she eventually did leave. What?
Do you live on like a main street that's like walked frequently, or?
Not really. I mean, it is, but like, really,
just a normal,
not
like suburban street type
Yeah.
of thing?
Yeah, she walked away, like, and when I say she was on my steps, I mean like, there's my front door, and then there's steps going to my front door, and then there's another set of steps after that. She was on the steps in front of my front door. So when I looked out the window, she's literally right there, which is so fucking creepy. Like, that she was just sitting there, like, literally on my property. And I remember you guys were like, I was talking to a couple people, and they were just like, go out and tell her to, like, go away. Like, tell her to fuck off. And I was just like, I don't want to talk to this woman.
Yeah,
Not want to interact
smarter
with
that
this
you
woman
did
at all.
I would have called the cops, honestly.
Yeah, I could have. My parents don't even know about that, actually. Like, I never even told them. I don't know. I don't know what they would say. I don't really care what they would think about that, because I mean, what are you gonna do, like, after it already happened? Like, after she went away, you're gonna tell the cops, and they're gonna be like, okay, well, she's gone now. Like, there's literally nothing we can do. So,
well, if she came back a couple times, you could meditate that you saw the cops or something, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you guys ever gotten like any gang wars type of things?
No.
Like walking around with a bunch of people, and then you meet another group, and it's fucking, you know, it's just like a instant shit's coming down type of deal.
No, not really.
Not for me, no.
Because I've had that happen plenty of times growing up.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, me especially, I grew up just walking around any time of the night and any time of day, and pretty much no one else was really walking around because, I mean, it's not entirely what you would call safe.
Yeah. Probably not safe at all.
But if we were walking around, we'd always walk around as a group. I was pretty much, you know, me and like one other friend, and most of the time I'd walk to his house and he'd be like, I'd show up at his house like 2 in the morning, like some random nights, and he'd just be like, what in the fuck are you walking around for? Like, what are you thinking? And then we'd end up like hanging out, smoking, drink a couple, and then just walk around. But we'd be walking around in groups, and there's basically, from my house to my friend's house, you go on one street, because it's like they're kind of intersected. And then on the other side of their house is basically the main street, then a giant cemetery, then our school that we went to. And then on the other side of the cemetery, there's a park, and then another main street, and then a cemetery that is like 4 miles wide. So basically, you run into people walking through the cemetery. You run into people at the park. There's another park that's in between my house and theirs. There's always people there. And pretty much on the little side streets, because we both lived on side streets, and basically I had one street that like 8 of my friends lived on, and then I had the friend that I walked to basically lived like north of that, deeper into the neighborhood, and I walked to his house all the time. But just walking from my house to all of theirs, there was like 4 different houses, and basically people that had like were kind of fake gangbangers, and they always like just you'd be outside, and then like if it's like it'd be like 2 of us walking in front just to check shit out, make sure everything's going all right. And I do remember one time where it got real fucking iffy, because I know for a fact, I think all of us had a knife and 2 of us had pistols, I think. And we get stopped by like 5 people that are in their yard at this like weird little 2-family like apartment that's on the corner of the street, and they're like, what's going on? And we're like, fuck you talking to us for, man? And then they're trying to start shit, and then I don't think I was one of the 2 up front. I think it was my friend Shane, and then maybe Jared, and they're walking up front, and one of them had a different high school shirt on, but they're like, we don't fuck with that shit. And then like all 6 of us come behind them, and they're all toting shit, and then it like was like the most awkward kind of like stare down of everybody, you say what's up and shit, and dap everyone up and like see what play like the situation. And then after it all kind of says and goes, we're like, basically pressing them like, we heard you talking shit up here and all sorts of shit. It's pretty much like they were ready to jump 2 people's bones, but when 6 people showed up and they all had shit on them, and we weren't normal size, so it's like every single one of us will give you a fucking run for your money,
Yeah.
so to speak. So it was like an instant attitude change of them trying to fucking hustle, jump like 2 people's bones, and then all 6 of us like behind them pull up, and then they're literally like fucking stepping back, and I know for a fact I opened my mouth and was like fucking trying to start shit, like, so now that we all show off, you're not gonna fucking pop that shit anymore, like, for real.
Yeah.
Like shit like that happened, more than I like to remember, honestly.
Yeah. Never been
Most
to
of the
that.
time, anytime I've been by myself and I pass groups, I mean, I probably ran from getting jumped like 5-6 times, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's natural shit. If it's past 9:30 and you're walking around and you're in either Price Hill or Westwood, you see more than 3 people walking on the same side of the road, you cross the road, and if you see them crossing the road again, you fucking dip, because it means they're gonna beat your ass.
Yeah.
I mean, a 3-on-1 fight, unless you're fucking Bruce Lee, like, it don't matter. You're probably gonna get your ass beat.
Oh yeah.
Life's not like a video game or like a kung fu movie. Beating the fuck out of 3 people,
Yeah,
they're all coming at you. Not
really hard to do.
Yeah.
Unless you're literally fucking like 6'4", and
I don't think even then, like, I don't think
it's-
MMA fighters can even do that.
no, not if it's like 3 able-bodied fucking teenagers.
Yeah.
That to fucking put their hands on you. I don't think so. I agree with you. Yeah, and shit, like, especially walking around at night and getting shit pulled on you. I've had guns pulled on me like plenty of times, but I've never gotten robbed.
Well, what'd you do? You never got robbed.
Sorry, what'd you say?
What'd you do if you never got robbed? Like, what do you do when a gun's pulled on you? How do you avoid getting robbed?
You keep going.
Ah,
I
I
mean,
got you.
anytime it's been on the street, it hasn't been at a house or like at my car or somewhere where it's unescapable. It's always been passing by and somewhere where if it was a gun, you just fucking walk away. I've ran a couple times. Yeah, you can call me a pussy. I'd rather be a pussy than have a bullet hole in me.
Yeah,
Fair,
exactly.
fair enough.
And I mean, depending on like the neighborhood, basically Westwood, Price Hill, they're connected. And I've lived in Price Hill my whole life till I just moved to Westwood about a year ago. But they really are pretty much the same neighborhood. But you go with like center of the city, you don't really have to worry about the same shit. You just kind of have to worry about bombs everywhere. Like the people out here, there's some people that are out here like straight zombies, and there were a couple bombs, but most of the people that are around here are people that are about some shit. Yeah. Whereas you go to other places, it's just kind of like you got to worry about the bomb, but that's not as scary. Yeah.
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 Sometimes it's even scarier. Yeah. It really just depends. I mean, I can think of a couple times where bums just kind of sketch you out, really. Because, some of them have mental issues, so they're just, like, screaming and yelling, like, talking to you nonsensical and shit. Like, yo, please don't come up to me. I don't have shit for you, bro. Like,
Right.
so I don't know. It's different problems. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Alright, bro, I'm gonna head out. It's getting late for
Alright,
me.
you're cool. You're cool.
Yeah,
So,
you're fine.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been fun. Hit me up
Yeah,
again.
anytime, really.
Yeah. Alright, cool, man. Alright, man. Well, I'll see you guys later.
alright, you take it
Right.
easy, my brother.
Alright, have a
Peace.
good one. Peace.
Alright, peace.